I think this will work because I have a cool thing to show you. Stick around. How you doing? Last night it went down to 45 degrees and it's June. I'm up in Northwest Connecticut. I usually put my tomatoes in around June 1st and I was like, is it still too cold? I got one trick I'm gonna try. So let's try this, see what happens. This is where the tomatoes are gonna go, believe it or not. This may look like, gee, what kind of soil is that, Eric? But it's actually really good soil. I put the black plastic down to kill a bunch of weeds that came up, a little bit of neglect. I'm only available part of the time in the weekend to get this done, so let's get this done. These are some sun sugar. I love the kind of golden yellow cherry tomatoes. I usually just pop the whole bottom of this off like that, so you've got the whole plant. And then I break these off. This next thing actually works is I pinch off the bottom leaves here, right? And then we're gonna bury this, we're gonna plant it. The soil is gonna go here. And you're like, oh, that's gonna be bad. It's actually gonna be really good because then roots grow out here. I have seen this, I have dug these up the next fall, after they grow. And you can, sure enough, and that's, root systems are great. As soon as you got a substantial root system, boom, the top takes off and you get your tomatoes. I like to use a narrow shovel and I just go in, I pull it back. I just pull it back, I go down deep, put this in, push this back around, and then I push down like that. Mosquitoes are out. Surprise. It was 45 degrees this morning. And then I'm like, can I put the tomatoes out? And I'm like, okay, let's try this and see what happens. So that's what we're doing. I mean, what do you got? You got some cherry tomatoes. You've got, well, what looks like a train wreck, but it's actually nice garden soil. We have had trouble with tomatoes. Oh, I forgot to pinch the leaves off. Around here, they call it the blight. I don't know if that's really what it is. Some kind of fungus or disease has come through, and I have a very kind of shady yard as it is, so there's a lot of moisture hugging it, and we've had quite a bit of tomato failure, so I avoid heirlooms now. I get the most robust hybrids I can. We're basically, well, you can see we're surrounded by trees here, and I get sunlight, but it's a limited sunlight, limited wind, so there isn't a lot to get the moisture out of here when it hugs, and when it hugs in the ground, hugging moisture, that's what allows the blight to grow. Pull these puppies off. Do not worry about this. This will be great. We'll get root growth here. In the corners of my raised beds, I like to put the tomato right smack in that far corner because that increases my use of the raised bed. The whole garden's kind of a mess. But that way, if I'm in this far corner, I can put other plants, the spacing, you get more plants in the bed. Does that make sense? Because sometimes you stick it here and you're like, well, the corner's over there. So that's at least what I do. If you think that's crazy, let me know. If you don't, tell me too. Tell me I'm not crazy. So I pull this over so it kind of holds the dirt back like that. So this goes over. You could scoop a little more out if you want. And then the dirt falls in. Nice. This is my world. This goes in like that. Pull this out. Press this down. Press the soil in around it. More soil. I always plant my plants slightly lower than the level of the soil, because that way when I water them, there's a little well here. I don't have the well or a little pond, perhaps. So the water sits there instead of going all over the place. It sits right next to the plant and waters the plant. So this is our first row. We're gonna give this some nice spacing. So I'm gonna go out like 2 feet here. And again, I'm gonna go right next to the edge of the bed here. And I'm gonna go down. You can dig it up if you want. I mean, you can go, oh, this is kind of a nice hole. Thank you, Eric. When I first discovered heirloom tomatoes, this is a mosquito, sorry. I was so excited about them. I grew them like Radiator Charlie's mortgage lifter, things like that. They would work to a point. I could grow them at my grandfather-in-law's farm out in Pennsylvania, New Oxford. But in my own yard here, it's because the moisture is so much higher, they would just be prone to diseases. So that was a little frustrating. So now I just stick with hybrids. But these, I love this. You can eat them off the vine. Put that in there. That's a little too deep, actually. So let's move. How we could do this with both hands holding the camera. Oh, that's not going to work. The special method for cold weather tomato planting won't work if you put the tomato right against the wall. It makes sense later. Ready for the secret thing? You're gonna be excited. Do you remember these? These are called like top hats or little mini greenhouses. I've used these before and they are brilliant. Let's put them in. If you just put them like this, these are gonna blow away. So we're gonna put dirt around them. So just kind of eyeball this. This is about here. So I'm gonna pull back this dirt. If you're looking for the Immaculate Garden Show, this isn't it. It is what it is, and it works for me, so. This sits like this. Oh, thank you, Andy. I was gonna ask what you thought of the great, whatever these things are called. What do you think? Oh, wants to go play. So what's really cool is you can just water, well, if you could aim the watering can, right here to each one of these. That's a little better. You want some water? Are you thirsty? Are you thirsty? No? I guess that's a no. Usually you'll drink right out of that thing. The motto of GardenFork is, hey, let's try this and see what happens. This is truly one of those. I'll make another video about this in a couple months and see how these went. Andy, you gonna help? She's gonna help. She just makes me smile. All right, see you in the next video. Right there. Okay? Okay, thank you. Thank you.